translated by Donald Rayfield. Chapter The Parcel. Parcels were issued in the guardhouse. The foreman checked the identity of the recipient. The fiberboard broke and cracked in a special fiberboard way. Here, trees broke differently and made a different noise when they broke. Behind a barrier made of benches, men with clean hands and in exceedingly neat military uniforms were opening, checking, shaking out, and issuing things. The boxes the parcels came in had barely survived a journey of many months. They were thrown with practiced skill into the air so as to split open when they hit the floor. Pieces of sugar, dried fruit, rotting onions, crumpled packets of tobacco flew all over the floor. Nobody picked up the spillage. The addressees of the parcels made no protests. Just to get a parcel was a real miracle. The escort guards stood by the guardhouse, rifles at the ready. Unidentifiable figures moved around in the white frosty mist. I was standing by the wall, waiting for my turn. Those light blue fragments weren't ice, they were sugar. 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 In an hour I would be holding them in my hands, and they wouldn't melt away. They would only melt in my mouth. A lump that big would give me 2, even 3 mouthfuls. What about the tobacco? Real homegrown tobacco. Tobacco from mainland Russia. Yaroslav Squirrel or Kremenchug No. 2. I'd smoke it, I'd treat absolutely everybody, above all the people who'd let me smoke their cigarette stubs all this year. Mainland tobacco. We did get tobacco as part of our rations, but it was so old that it had been written off from army supplies. That was a gigantic fraud, because any produce whose shelf life had expired was written off and sold to the camps. Now, however, I'd be smoking proper tobacco. And if my wife didn't know that what was needed was the strongest possible tobacco, someone would have let her know. Surname? The parcel split open, and the box spilled out leathery fruit, prunes. Where was the sugar, then? And there were only a couple or so handfuls of prunes, anyway. Soft boots for you? Pilot soft boots. Ha, ha, ha. With rubber soles. Ha, ha, ha. Just like the chief mining engineers. Here, take them. I stood dumbfounded. What did I want soft boots for? Here you could only wear them on days off, and there were no days off. If only they were reindeer fur snow boots, jacket boots, or ordinary felt boots. Soft boots were far too fashionable. That wouldn't go down well. What's more, listen, you. A hand touched my shoulder. I turned around so that I could see the soft boots, the box with a few prunes at the bottom, as well as the people in charge, and the face of the man holding my shoulder. It was Andrei Boyko, our warden at the mine. Boyko was whispering quickly, "Sell me the boots. I'll give you money. 100 rubles. You won't get as far as the barracks carrying them. Someone out there will take them off you, snatch them." Boyko pointed a finger into the white mist. In any case they'd be stolen in the barracks. Before the night is over. You'd be the one who sent the thief, I thought, then said, "All right, give me the money." "You can see I'm good," said Boyko as he counted out the money. "I'm not cheating you like others would. I said 100 and I'm giving you 100. Boyko was afraid he'd paid too much. I folded the dirty money double, 4 times, 8 times and hid it away in my trouser pocket. I took the prunes out of the box and put them into my jacket lining. The pockets had long ago been torn out to make tobacco pouches. "I'll buy some butter. 1 kilogram. And I'll have butter with my bread, soup, and porridge. And I'll buy sugar. And I'll get a bag off somebody, a fabric bag with a rope handle. That's what every self-respecting political prisoner has to have. Ordinary criminals won't be seen dead with them. I went back to the barracks. Everyone was on their bunks, except for Yefremov, who was sitting with his hands on the stove, which had gone out. Yefremov, reluctant to get to his feet and tear himself away from the stove, had his face against the last remnants of warmth. "Why don't you stoke it?" The orderly came up. "Yefremov is on duty. The foreman said he can take the wood wherever he can find it, but there's got to be firewood. Anyway, I won't let you go to sleep. Go before it's too late." Yefremov slipped through the barracks door. "Where's your parcel, then?" he asked. It was all a mistake. I ran to the shop. Shapenko, the shop manager, was still doing business. There was nobody else. "Shapenko, give me some bread and butter. You'll be the death of me. Take whatever it costs." "Can't you see how much money I've got?" said Shapenko. "What use is a drip like you to me? Take your bread and butter and clear off." I had forgotten to ask him for sugar. I had a kilo of butter and a kilo of bread. I would go and see Semyon Shainin. Shainin used to be an advisor to Kirov, and he hadn't been executed yet. We used to work together in the same brigade, but by a quirk of fate we'd been separated. Shainin was in the barracks. "Let's eat. Butter, bread." Shainin's hungry eyes lit up. "I'll go and get some hot water." "There's no need for hot water." "No, I'll be right back." He disappeared. At that moment someone hit me on the head with a heavy object. When I got up and came to my senses, my bag was gone. Everyone was where they had been, looking at me with spiteful pleasure. This was the best sort of entertainment. Incidents like this gave double the pleasure. First, someone is having a bad time. Second, it isn't them. It certainly isn't envy. I had forgotten to ask him for sugar. I had a kilo of butter and a kilo of bread. I would go and see Semyon Shainin. Shainin used to be an advisor to Kirov, and he hadn't been executed yet. We used to work together in the same brigade, but by a quirk of fate we'd been separated. Shainin was in the barracks. "Let's eat. Butter, bread." Shainin's hungry eyes lit up. "I'll go and get some hot water." "There's no need for hot water." "No, I'll be right back." He disappeared. At that moment someone hit me on the head with a heavy object. When I got up and came to my senses, my bag was gone. Everyone was where they had been, looking at me with spiteful pleasure. This was the best sort of entertainment. Incidents like this gave double the pleasure. First, someone is having a bad time. Second, it isn't them. It certainly isn't envy. Kovalko rushed to the stove, waving a pickaxe he had brought with him. "Cooking pots again? I'll show you what happens to cooking pots. I'll teach you to foul the place up." Kovalko tipped over the pots of soup, bread crusts, cabbage leaves, and prunes and smashed a hole in each pot with his pickaxe. Ryabov warmed his hands on the stovepipe. "If you've got pots, that means you've got food to cook," the mine chief expounded with an air of profundity. "That, you know, is a sign of plenty." "Well, you ought to see what they've been cooking," said Kovalko as he trampled the pots flat. The chiefs left, and we started sorting out the crushed pots and picking out our own food. I got my prunes, since off his shapeless soaked bread, good area of his crumbled cabbage leaves. We ate it all straight away. That was the safest option. I swallowed a few prunes and went to sleep. Long ago I had learned to go to sleep before my feet got warm. At first I couldn't do that, but experience is experience. Sleep was just like oblivion. Life recurred as a dream, the doors were flung open again, white puffs of steam kept to the floor as they ran to the far wall of the barracks, while there were people in white fur jackets that stank from being new and unworn, and something that didn't move but was alive, grunted after it fell to the floor. The orderly struck a pose that suggested bewilderment as well as respect as he bowed down to the white sheepskin jackets of the supervisors. "Is that your man?" asked the guard, pointing to a bundle of dirty rags lying on the floor. "That's Yefremov," said the orderly. "This will teach him to steal other people's firewood. Yefremov spent many weeks lying on his bunk next to me before he was carted off to die in the buildings set aside for invalids. His innards had been smashed up. There were quite a few experts in the mines who knew how to do that. He never complained, he just lay there, quietly groaning.